Okay, let's move on quickly. Spiritual usury I got down here. Spiritual usury, you know.
Yeah.
Spiritual
Yeah.
usury.
Yeah.
Interest. We're looking at interest, but interest from the other side now. Check this out. When we have interest in building society, when we are interested in family, community, and nation, the authorities of this world charge us because we're interested in building and developing self. It's all right when you cohabit, brothers and sisters. The government will assist you financially. They will make it so that you are better off than a single entity. That is an unseen charge based upon our interest in wanting to get married and produce a balanced family. Yeah?
I think we know that that if you're married, then you're taxed. The
Yeah.
taxes that you pay are much
Yeah.
higher than those of single people.
Yeah.
And you know you get the single person's allowances.
Yeah.
You know, with your council
So
tax
that's a
or what have
charge.
you. Of course it is.
That's a charge.
You're being fined.
You're being fined for wanting to do what Allah God ordained us to do.
No, we're being fined for doing it.
Yeah.
Not for doing
For
it.
real. For doing it. For our
My earring's
interest.
gone again.
Trying to tell you something.
Gone.
Sister. Also, you know, another thing that stops us from wanting to get married, you know, that fear that men have that women will take half of what they have. And that's pervasive across this society as well. So that's like a mental charge in the mind of the men. You ask me, why do men do not want to register? You know, there's this mental seed that's been planted in our mind that we're going to suffer loss if we register. We're going to suffer loss if we stand up. We're going to not be able to maneuver or do the things that we used to do or need to do if we register.
It's true as well. It's true to a degree. It's
To a
absolutely
degree.
true because there's so many things that actually charge you, and it's like it becomes a stranglehold.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's
Usury,
your rent.
sister.
Yeah, yes, it is.
It's usury. It's a
So I
charge.
understand.
It's a single charge, a double charge, a triple charge. Look, usury is a heavy double jeopardy, double charge for those who have interest in building society.
Yeah.
Those of us who have interest in building society, you know. Islam, I've got here, is not mortgage, not dead gauge. It is the life-giving gauge, a life-giving gauge. It is the gauge for family, community, and nation. And when we have interest in Islam, there is persecution from the authorities. There is Islamophobia. We're seen as terrorists even. We are vilified in the press. Non-Muslims are turned against us. We lose jobs and opportunities that we would get if we weren't Muslims.
Our own families.
Yeah,
You know,
our own families turn against us. It's a large
a while.
charge against us. It's usury.
When we first came to Islam, Brother Chris and I came together. When we first came to Islam, my mum was not happy. She thought it was some kind of cult. Do you remember? And she'd be saying, "Don't say that in my house." Don't. And we say, "Assalamu alaikum" to the children. She'd be like, "Don't say that in my house." But then over the years, I think it took a couple of years or 3 years, even of us just being consistent and of us just trying
There
to
you
work
go.
and live together and stuff. And
There you go.
and she saw that, and then my mum started slowly but surely. You know, she came round because my mum is very she's very caring, and she's also very supportive. And now she gives the greeting. She's like "Assalamu alaikum" when she calls. So it's been a complete change, but that's based on the efforts that we made and
consistent
based on
effort.
Yeah, and based on her seeing Islam working for us and Islam governing both of us, and that helping to keep a balance within our life and within our home.
Submitting under the live gauge consistently. You know, a mortgage is at least 25 years.
Yeah.
You know, and in this world we're prepared to give 25 years towards this building.
Yeah.
But are we prepared to give 25 years to Islam,
But that's-
to family, community, and nation, to building society? You know, you ain't seen the fruits until, you know, the end. It's not yours until the end of the 25 years, in truth.
So I was going to say that's actually a life sentence that's handed down for
Yeah.
murder or something.
For real.
But on the other hand, you know, being a parent is a life sentence as well. You know, being a productive member of a community, of a society, and a nation, you know, that's a life sentence as well. But we see it in a very negative way. So we don't want to invest ourselves as much, you know, in our family, in our community, and in making investments for our children. We'd prefer to do it, you know, with a mortgage. So everyone's flocking for a physical mortgage, but they don't see the spiritual and the mental mortgage that really it is a sign of, because that's a physical sign of a spiritual and a mental and a productive societal balance.
Okay, brothers and sisters, it's closing comment time. Our subject today is called subject to status. And I'm going to close on subject to status, what it means. Subject to status is a term that you'll often come across in the lending credit sectors. It will usually be found in small print or in the initial terms and conditions attached to an offer for a financial product or status. Basically, if you apply for a financial product that is subject to status, then you'll only be approved for it after your status has been checked out okay. Lenders all have different ways of checking your status. Some may simply run a credit check on you, and some may need more details. If you meet all their conditions through these checks, then your status will be approved and you will be able to proceed with buying the product you want. If you don't meet their criteria, then you may not get approved, or you might have to pay higher rates than those shown as standard. If you are applying for a special deal or offer with interest rates that are subject to status, for example, then you may find that the best rates are reserved for applicants with extremely good credit histories and may be charged higher rates if your credit history is not perfect. Now, subject to status. The Honourable Elijah Muhammad said that 75% dissatisfaction brings about change. Therefore, our growth and development in this world is subject to status. If our growth and development is subject to us being 75% dissatisfied, only when you reach that 75% dissatisfied will you be ready to build society, to come out of the world that we are in. Our growth and development is subject to the state of our minds. Allah gives us credit for our intentions. If our status in this world is too high, if we are too comfortable with the lives that we already have, if we are not prepared to struggle, these are states of mind, subject to status. If we are okay with the general status quo, then we are not in the mind for Allah God's status grow, for us to grow, We cannot be productive members of Allah God's building society if we are trying to climb the ladder of a system that is built on usury. Usury meaning the sin of charging the black man and woman, now I'm talking from our world, the sin of charging the black man and woman in the West for having interest in self-improvement, which is the basis of all community development. Brothers and sisters, we thank you for listening, and more next time by Allah's grace and mercy. But we leave you with peace.
Assalamu alaikum.
Peace. Clear.
Gosh, that was hard. It's always hard the first week when you're setting the scene.
Setting your
That's
stall
what
up.
I learned. Yeah, that's what I learned. It's always hard.
I like what he's saying about the what was he saying? I forgot now.
So there's no point in asking me. My pencil ran out. I'm so glad you had a pen there. See, Christopher ever ready Aisha, I was like, only Chris, and my pencil never runs out. And look at that.
See, my pencil don't run out either.